If you've been on the self-help side of YouTube or any social media for that matter, then you've probably seen content related to how delusion is what's needed for success and how it's this very powerful thing. Well, I'm here to tell you the complete opposite. Why delusion is one of the most sophisticated forms of self-sabotaging agents being sold to you. You see, delusion is not this magical thing that you need to have. It's simply a sedative for things that you have yet to accomplish. You use it to run away from the fact that you haven't really accomplished anything you say you will. The things you said that you will learn, but you didn't. Things that you said you will do, but you didn't. The delusion trend makes a very simple case, and a very seductive one at that, especially to the average person. It tells you that if you simply lie to your own nervous system, if you already believe that you're this big titan, then reality will eventually bend to match your ego. But there's something very subtle that you're missing. What they mean by delusion is actually just a vision. And by definition, a vision is a target in the future. And well, delusion is a falsified present. By conflating these two, these videos or this trend specifically makes you forget all the necessary friction of being a beginner. It strips away all the fear of when you're trying to learn something new or do something new and you don't know what to do exactly. And you miss out on the experience of actually pulling through anyway and actually learning that skill. And if you don't know, the brain cannot distinguish between what's true and what's not. So when you're delusional and you think of yourself as a titan and you're feeling all the success, you haven't actually earned it. So when the time comes to actually do something, you don't know how to do it at all. Because all this time you've spent just thinking of yourself as a titan when you're really not. To understand the physiological tax of the slide, we look to Dostoevsky's Raskolnikov. If you don't know who Raskolnikov is, he's a character inside Crime and Punishment, a book written by Fyodor Dostoevsky. If you don't know this book, please read it, it's an amazing book. But anyways, Raskolnikov is what we call the archetypal modern man. He was the original victim of this delusion trend. You see, Raskolnikov organized humanity into two kinds, the ordinary, the ones who followed the law, or the herd as he called them, and the extraordinary, who had the right to overstep the boundaries of the law to achieve greatness. You see, what happened here is that Raskolnikov didn't want to build a ledger of success through small incremental wins. He wanted to leave the gap between mediocrity and destiny through one swift single act. In Raskolnikov's case, this act was one of radical violence. He murdered an old pawnbroker, not for the money, but as a laboratory experiment for his own soul. He believed that if he were truly a Napoleon, then this act would leave him emboldened, empowered, and untroubled. He believed that will is simply a muscle you can flex to bend reality. But the moment the axe fell, biology revolted. His hands shook so violently he could barely even lock a door. He literally could not think normally. He spent the following days after the murder in complete and total delirium. Not because he felt guilty in a moral sense. He didn't give a shit about whether she was innocent or not. But his body simply couldn't handle the fact that he wasn't this Napoleon that he thought he was. This is the status threat of the modern man. Raskolnikov attempted to hack his own hierarchy. He tried to lie to his own nervous system to grant him the steadiness of a leader without the history of a leader. You see, your biology is a ruthless auditor. It doesn't give two shits about what you manifest or the delusional mantras that you repeat to yourself every morning in the mirror. It tracks your actual competence, what you actually did and what you didn't do. This is tracked by something specifically we call the subconscious. If you want to read more on that, you can read Carl Jung's or von Neumann's psychology books. When you adopt a delusional persona, you create this cognitive debt. You are borrowing the confidence of a future version of yourself that doesn't even exist yet. And the interest rate on this debt is your mental health. Raskolnikov discovered what every delusional hustler will eventually discover. You can claim to be a Napoleon to the world, but you cannot lie to your own blood. Your nervous system knows that you haven't earned the right to be steady yet, and when the pressure builds up, you enter a delirium of your own making. Now you might try to argue against this. You might point out to the outliers, figures like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and say their delusion worked. But you're simply suffering from survivorship bias. For every one billionaire whose delusion was an actual vision backed by extreme competence built up from when they were literal children. I can show you 20 people on your Instagram feeds whose whole digital presence is a carousal of motivational feeds and reposts which are mantras about who they're going to be and the empire they're building, when the reality is completely stagnant. They are complete idiots and buffoons in real life. These posts act as an emotional shield. Every time they hit repost or share a quote about this lion that they're becoming, or whatever fantasy they have of themselves, they get a tiny hit of dopamine that tricks their nervous system into thinking that they've actually made real progress. It's a sedative. And keep in mind, it doesn't have to be, just posting whatever. You can also find this, like, for example, when you're making a to-do list, you're also doing the same thing. You're just articulating the ambition. You haven't done anything. All they are doing is not building progress. They are decorating a prison of potential while the real work sits untouched. If this is true, then the strategy for greatness isn't to think bigger, it's to think more clearly. If you lean into delusion, you're overbuilding infrastructure for a person that doesn't exist yet. In economic terms, you're an entrepreneur with no unit of output. The real superpower is sovereign vision. It is the ability to look at the gap between who you are and who you want to be, and knowing exactly how to bridge that gap. And the most important lesson we can deduce from this is that real authority, real competence, real ambition is built by actual work that you do. Real authority is being the only person in the room who refuses to lie to themselves. The real danger of the delusion trend isn't that you'll fail to become a Napoleon. It's that you'll spend your life acting like you're already him. And the man that you were supposed to become dies of neglect.